Hey there. You ever feel like some days you're just like unstoppable?
Yeah,
Like you could conquer the world. And
totally.
then other days it's like you could barely get out of bed.
Oh, yeah, I've been there.
It's like, what's with that gap?
For sure.
What if we could like bottle that unstoppable energy?
Right.
Well, that's what we're diving into today. How to make the most of your natural energy.
Love it.
Our guide for this deep dive is an episode from the Energize Your Life podcast. Have you heard of it?
I have, yeah. Olivia and Mark, the hosts,
Yeah.
they have some really, really practical advice. It's great.
It's like they're giving us a user manual, but for our energy levels,
Totally.
which I don't know about you, but I could really use that sometimes.
100%.
One of the biggest takeaways for me was this idea of like shifting from time management to energy management.
Interesting, yeah, because it's not just about cramming, like, everything into your schedule, right?
Exactly.
It's about understanding, like, when you are naturally at your best for certain tasks.
Yes. Okay, so Olivia, one of the hosts, she talks about this thing called energy batching.
Okay.
And honestly, this has been a game changer for me. So you like align your to-do list with your kind of like body's natural rhythm.
Interesting.
So like, you know how some people, they get like a burst of creativity in the morning?
Yeah.
So that's when, you should tackle that big project proposal.
Excellent.
But then, we all get that afternoon slump.
Oh, tell me about it.
That's when you save like the mindless admin tasks.
Oh, that's...
Yeah, Mark, the other host, he actually calls this energy zoning, which I kind of like.
I like that.
It's like you're being really intentional about those high energy zones
Right.
and, minimizing distractions.
Yeah, like what kind of distraction?
Social media, obviously.
Oh, the worst.
The worst.
Yeah.
It's funny, right? Like we try to like power through those dips in energy
Yeah.
when really it's about kind of like leaning into them strategically.
It's true. It's true. It's like sometimes you just got to embrace the lull.
Totally. And speaking of things that kind of zap our energy, Olivia and Mark, they had some really interesting thoughts about like energy vampires in our day-to-day lives.
Oh, sure. I mean, those hidden energy suckers, they
Yeah.
can really do a number on you.
Olivia mentioned like back-to-back meetings as a major culprit for her.
Oh, yeah. Meetings, notorious energy vampires.
I know. Tell me about it.
Just back to back to back,
Ah, so draining. How about you? What are your like top energy drainers?
For me, it's multitasking. It's like everyone expects you to be amazing at it.
Right, like it's some kind of superpower.
Exactly, but it's really not.
No, it's a recipe for disaster, I swear.
It's so true. It drains your cognitive energy like nothing else.
And Mark talked about that too. He was like the myth of multitasking. He also mentioned overscheduling as a big one for him.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like you're constantly on edge.
And they both said that like single tasking was where it's at if you want sustained energy.
Makes sense, right. Focusing on one thing at a time, giving it your all, it's more mindful, more efficient in the long run.
So instead of like spreading ourselves thin,
Exactly.
we can like focus.
And honestly, I think there's a connection here to stress too, right?
Oh, 100%.
Like, if you can identify those energy drainers and minimize them, you're basically like lowering your stress levels at the same time.
It's like we're creating a buffer for ourselves.
Yeah.
So we're not always running on empty.
Exactly.
And you know what else I loved about this episode? They didn't just like focus on the mental aspect of energy.
Oh, yeah.
They talk about our physical environment too.
Interesting.
Like how our surroundings can actually impact our energy levels.
Oh, totally. Even just think about like the lighting in a room.
Right. Or like having clutter everywhere.
Oh my gosh, clutter is the worst. For me anyway.
Olivia and Mark really emphasize like creating a workspace that is both calming and energizing.
Okay, so how do you do that? I mean, any tips from them?
Well, they mentioned like having a clean desk,
Always a good start.
natural light if you can get it,
Yes.
and even just adding like a plant or two.
Oh, I love that. Bring a little bit of the outdoors in.
And then they also talked about incorporating more movement throughout the day.
Yeah, because so many of us are just like glued to our desks all day.
And it doesn't have to be anything crazy, like even just standing up for a minute.
Right. Or like a quick walk around the block.
Exactly.
Just get the blood flowing.
Yes. They also obviously mentioned regular exercise, which, we know is good for us.
Yeah. But it's true, though. Sometimes you need that reminder.
We do.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the physical benefits, but like the mental energy boost you get from it too.
Absolutely. That mind-body connection is so powerful.
It's like they're encouraging us to be active participants in our own energy management.
Right. Like, take control.
Yes. not just be like passive recipients of whatever our environment throws at us.
Hmm.
It's like we can actually design an environment that gives us energy instead of like taking it away.
Right. Like, be architects of our own well-being.
Exactly. And speaking of things that recharge us, Olivia and Mark, they were both like big on rest and relaxation.
Oh, yeah, they were not shy about that at all. Sleep, especially.
It's like they were waving a big flag about sleep. No amount of caffeine can replace it, they said.
Which is so true. And they didn't just stop at sleep either. They talked about, like, really dedicating time for mental relaxation, too.
Yeah, like just giving yourself permission to unplug.
Exactly. Meditation, reading, whatever works for you. Just taking a break from the constant stimulation.
So it's like finding that balance, right?
Hmm.
We want to be productive, obviously. We have goals. But at the same time, we don't want to burn ourselves out.
It's totally possible. It's about working smarter, not harder, like they say.
So to wrap up this deep dive, it's clear that energy management, it's not just like some productivity hack, you know?
Yeah, it's bigger than that.
It's about really understanding yourself, how you work best,
And honoring those rhythms.
and being aware of the things that like drain you versus the things that energize you,
Yeah.
your surroundings, the people you're around even.
It's about designing a life that supports you, basically.
Exactly. It's like Olivia and Mark said, you have this one amazing life. Don't you want to make the most of your energy?
I think that's a great note to end on. We all have that power. We can choose to work with our energy instead of against it. And imagine what we could accomplish then, right?